that a gator? Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm very excited about the upcoming videos for the channel. I have had an awesome last few weeks trying out different tire types and sizes, different wheel sets on different bikes and rides, and I have been getting some great impressions. I have been going from tubeless setups to TPU tubes and back and forth and swapping out tires from 32 millimeters to 40 millimeters on this bike, and also doing something very similar on the Basso road bikes. I will share those in an upcoming video. In today's video, I'm sharing a gravel ride on the Nemo Gravel where I installed a set of 32mm Pirelli P0 TLR race from the Pirelli Gravel H 40mm on these Elite GS45 gravel wheel set with carbon spokes. Now, speaking of Pirelli, they recently sent out a nice selection of tires to help me in these evaluations, including those much talked about 40mm Race TLR. So over the last year, I've actually been doing a bit of a switch from Vittoria over to Pirelli, and I really couldn't be happier. And I hope you enjoy the ride footage as well. I think it's pretty cool. So this first ride you've been watching is a part of our South Florida gravel system known as the Levy. It goes on for miles and miles, and the chunk that you see here is pretty consistent. It is great for endurance training as you're not dealing with cars or lights or anything like that. It's just non-stop pedaling. It has recently been smoothed out a bit and can actually be done on a road bike with the right volume and pressure. In parts, it's multi-use, and every evening you'll find folks who come out just to catch the sunsets. Really nice connection with nature. Our ride was a simple out and back where we got in about 20 miles, and after battling a really vicious monster headwind, we're about to be rewarded royally. The bike is my Chinelli Nemo Gravel TIG, previously featured on the channel, currently equipped with the Wheeltop EGX wireless group set from China. Review on that group set coming soon. Wheels are the Elitedrive GS45 with the carbon spokes on 32mm Chinelli P0 at 45 psi. They were smooth and really easy to ride. They roll over stuff that I missed to maneuver around with ease and remain stable even when I ran into something that I should have been avoiding. You'll see as Mark picks up the pace, there was no drama, they just kind of went. Now, in terms of tire sealant and that kind of stuff, my tire sealant is from my channel sponsor, Joe's No Flats. I've got a link to my Amazon store where you can pick some of the good stuff up. Joe's has been a really great sponsor, so if you go give them a visit, I'd appreciate that a great deal. When I first transitioned into running tubeless for my road application, I started running into issues like a lot of my road friends did. And part of it was because we were running the wrong type of application. You know, back then, you ran into a bike shop and asked for some sealant and you got sold anything that was on the shelf. And it was really primarily mountain bike or off-road type applications, and the difference is that road tires run lower volume but at a very high tire pressure, as opposed to gravel and mountain bike, which are running higher volume but at a much lower tire pressure. So when it comes to road sealant applications, you need something that has a lower resistance to flow, less viscosity, and Joe has devised different formulas for different applications. For example, the road leader sealant is designed specifically for road applications because when you get a puncture with a road tire, that air is escaping really, really fast. You need something that's going to get to that hole really, really fast, as opposed to getting a puncture on an off-road application where, because of the higher volume, lower tire pressure, the air is moving out of the system much more slowly, so you can afford to use something like the super sealant. So when I first went from running these Pirelli Gravel H, those Pirelli P0 32mm at a slightly higher tire pressure, I decided to use the road leader, especially since I'm going to be using that bike not just on gravel applications, but also in road applications where I'm going to be running a slightly higher PSI. So I have the right sealant in the tire for the right application. So I'm going to post a link to Joe's website so that you can get on there and learn a little bit about the different types of sealants that you need for the different applications. Educate yourself about it. Listen, it doesn't matter to me whether you use Joe's or use something else. Just make sure that you're using the right type of sealant for the application that you're running so that you don't have nightmare situations. But I'm also going to have a link to the Amazon store where you can pick up some Joe's No Flats, support the sponsor. You're also going to be supporting our channel. And the sealant remover, I recommend that you pick this thing up. If you get, like Patrick Lino says, sealant jizz all over the place, and you need to clean up your rims after an application or clean up your tire, this stuff actually works really good. So you'll find this in my Amazon store for Joe's No Flats, as well as the different sealants that you'll need to make sure that you get the right sealant for the right application. All right, back to the regularly scheduled program. Now, when it comes to Joe's products, I have a choice of the Road Leader sealant or the Super Sealant for more gravel and off-road type adventures. On these 32s, I'm running the Road Leader, but I could have easily gone either way just because of the volume and the pressure that I'm running. So what's the difference about having the 32mm tires on the Nemo versus the 40mm Gravel H? Well, even though our gravel is very mild in this section, you definitely get less vibration and buzz coming through, and the ride is definitely firmer on the 32s. On the road, it's exactly what you would expect. The 32s are easier to get going and more nimble. However, those Gravel H in 40mm are plenty capable on the road, as evidenced by a video that I'll post a link to where I took him out on a fast group ride. Well, I took the Nemo out on a fast group ride with the Gravel H, and it did remarkably well. You can check that video out after you've watched this one. Is that a gator? That's a gator. Right there.
I got some Panamanian meat for you.
He's like, what you want, bro? What you want? One thing I did want to say about tire volume is I've taken the 32mm off. The bike is currently equipped with a Pirelli P0 Race TLR in 40mm. And of course, I'll be taking this out on both road and off-road excursions and let you know my impressions about how the bike performs under that guise. The one thing I will say I have noticed is that when I go from a higher volume, like a 40mm, even with the Gravel H tires, down to a 32, and I've actually also had 30s on here, because the geometry changes, in essence, what you're doing is you're modifying the trail of the fork when you go to a higher volume. It changes the way how the bike steers and responds. For example, with a higher volume, the bike feels like it feels like how it should feel. Very predictive, neutral steering, not sluggish, just right. When I go to like the 30s or the 32s, the bike becomes a little bit more reactive, not twitchy, just faster steering. The Elitedrive GS45 with the carbon spokes, great companion for this or any kind of all-road adventure type bike that a person will build. I've actually had these in a road application where I had some 32s and I had placed it on a Diamante, took it out on a few group rides, and it worked really, really well. In fact, I'll link to that video so that you can check it out. And I think that's where I'm gonna leave this. I still have the upcoming video on the Wheeltop EGX wireless Chinese group set. Make sure that you subscribe so that you don't miss that. But you can let your voices be heard in the comment section below. Always like to hear what you guys have to say about the projects that we bring on the channel. I don't know if you can tell, but I love this bike. Despite my complaints about the kind of heavyish frame than I would have expected, this bike always performs splendidly when I take it out either on the road or on the gravel. All right, that's where we're gonna leave it. As always, our aim here is to inform, instruct, inspire. Be blessed.